Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Avernum 6. Last episode we went further through the western reaches and have made our way all the way up to where we're supposed to go. So, without further ado, let's see what's going on with the excavation here. Well, that's a dead end, that's not doing anything. At last you have reached the northern end of the western reaches. There's an Avernite fort here, a small one, though it has received a lot of wagon and supply traffic. The walls are smooth, gently rounded, and emit a soft green luminescence. It is Venati architecture, several decades old. The Ammonites must have simply moved in and patched it up. There's a lone sergeant walking around in front of the fort. He wields a clipboard and uses it to inventory the equipment waiting to be taken inside the fort. Touch! Hehehe. Oh, and we leveled up. I think you're fine on tool use. Save up your points. We need to improve your melee weapons. Alright, that's the way in, clearly. Multiple gates. Alright, let's speak to you. Well, first... Okay, now let's speak to you. The sergeant walks up to greet you.
Another soldier! Don't see many of those out here in the back of beyond. Thought we'd forgotten we had. I'm Sergeant Bellows. Welcome to the Western Excavation. Now all I need is to confirm you're allowed to be here, and we can let you in.
Well, I've been sent from the castle to evaluate the status of the excavation.
Well, we knew this was coming, I suppose. Wouldn't turn you away, not with you being from the castle and all.
Bellows shouts a command, and a minute later the gates begin to slowly open.
Welcome to the excavation.
What is the status of the excavation?
Yes, well, you should talk to the commander. He has more of the bat's eye view of everything, you know. I just watch the supplies.
He waves his clipboard at you. Can I get supplies and healing?
Well, anyone from the castle can help themselves to everything they see. As for healing, talk to Isla. She can restore your strength.
There's something else I need to know.
Sorry, just the sergeant, the quartermaster. I don't know anything, just go in. The commander will help you. I'm not responsible for anything.
He waves you in and returns to work. Okay then. There aren't many soldiers stationed out here, and their time so far out here in the wilderness has left them very isolated and nervous. You tell them what has been happening in the rest of Avernum. It doesn't cheer them up. Well, let's begin exploring, see what we can find. Grab what we can and such. Alright, one of those, chainmail vest. That leads to a pit. There's another room. Hello. There's a powerful mage in this office, engaged in a deadly duel with a large pillar of stone. He is directing a stream of fire at the rock, trying different angles and intensities to break it down. You watch the spectacular display for a while. Eventually, he takes a break and looks at you. He isn't pleased to have to spend precious magic-using time at talking to a mere soldier.
You are new. Not a mere guard, either. I suppose the long-dreaded inspectors from the castle have finally arrived. I am Incantor Timmons. Ask what you need to.
What were you doing to that rock?
Several wizards of Avernum have been pulled from their important and significant duties to come to this remote hole and blast rocks into smaller rocks. If we must suffer this indignity, we might as well perform the task efficiently. The sooner we succeed, the sooner we can be freed from this purgatory.
You didn't want to come here.
Nobody wants to come here.
What would you be doing if you weren't here?
I would choose to work in the tower colony, attempting to find some way to alleviate the blight, or perhaps help in the battle against the Slith Horde. But the castle asked the tower colony for mages to come here. Kellner, the master of the tower, volunteered me.
Incantor Timmons says,
I suppose I must continue to talk to you. Not even a full wizard is entirely free from the bureaucracy. What do you want to know?
Well, can you teach me any spells?
What? You think I haven't suffered enough indignities? Go to the tower colony, they can teach you. I am to concentrate on my duties here, no matter how foolish and tedious.
Alright, we'll go there eventually. How's the excavation going? The mage looks annoyed at the question.
Well, that's what you came to find out, isn't it? As if it wasn't a mad errand in the beginning. Digging randomly through tons of rock, looking for an imaginary tunnel to the surface. And then the commander decides to enlist ogres to help with the process. Mindless, grumbling brutes, it is no wonder that the process ground to a halt. It's not my fault.
You don't believe that the tunnel exists.
Well, it might have once. We did find signs that steep upward sloping tunnels were here, but then they were collapsed. Now it's just a jumble of countless tons of rock. And that assumes that the tunnels went to the surface in the first place, which I doubt.
Tell me about the ogres.
Oh, no. Commander Rana gets to explain that singular bit of genius herself. Mindless creatures getting in the way of the blasts of fire, always becoming injured due to their clumsiness, and then threatening us. Us! I am here now instead of at the dig because I threatened to incinerate the next ogre that bothered me.
An ogre attacked you.
Not yet, but the creatures are clumsy, dumb, and have short tempers. It's only a matter of time before one of them blames us for its own idiocy and attacks.
The ogres get injured.
So they claim. Clumsy, forgetful creature. Their thick hides keep them from feeling any sort of real pain, but the fire from our spells startles them.
I see. So I guess that's what's happening. They got some ogres to help out, and now the ogres are on strike, I guess. Fantastic. Wonderful job. So, did you ask the ogres to join, or what? Several stone servants are hard at work hauling piles of rock out of the depths of the excavation. The stones they are moving look recently mined, and some of them show signs of melting, as if they were blasted loose. The servants, mindless creatures that they are, walk silently around you. Oh boy. I only wonder about what happened. And the excavation has to be going up, not down. Am I right or wrong here? It's the only thing that makes sense. There's a small apothecary set up in this cavern. Workers at the excavation can come here to have their wounds treated. The shelves are worryingly bare of supplies. The healer is exhausted and her clothes are dirty. No patients are here right now, but this is clearly only a temporary lull. She has been very busy. When you enter, she inspects you.
Ah, I see you had a difficult journey. I am Healer Isla. If you ever need a place to rest or have your wounds tended to, please come see me.
I need to rest here for a while.
Of course, of course. Please lie down and I will tend to you.
You rest for a few hours and Isla sees to your wounds. When you get up again, you feel restored. And we're going to need to light another lamp. At least I've been collecting them. Tell me about the excavation.
I know little about the day-to-day details of the digging. I only know that it is difficult and dangerous work. My task is to keep the workers here intact and able to keep at it. We are far from civilization, and we never have enough workers, so that makes my job doubly difficult.
Well, what sort of injuries do you see?
Cuts and broken bones, mostly, from mishaps with tools or falling rocks, nothing a few quick spells can't resolve. There are also nasty burns. Sadly, the mages are not as careful when directing their magic as they should be.
Lovely. And where are you from originally?
I was a healer in Vermello before it fell to the Slith Horde. After I lost my home, I traveled to the castle and volunteered to help in the fight. I did not expect to be sent somewhere like here, but then if the work here succeeds, it will be a great boon for Avernum. So I won't complain. How are you feeling? Doing all right? If you get banged up, please come see me. That is what I am here for.
Well, how has the excavation been going?
I have not been to the dig much recently, but it seems like the work is hardly continuing at all. We were relying on ogres to do much of the heavy digging, but the creatures are dissatisfied.
Ogres? Why ogres?
Ah, you would have to speak with the commander. Those sorts of decisions do not fall to me.
And why are the ogres angry?
I don't know. I don't pretend to understand ogres. I do know that they tend to suffer more burns and breaks than I would expect. I wish the mages would be more careful.
Do you ever treat the ogres?
Sometimes. Usually when they are hurt, they retreat to their lair to recuperate. The seriously wounded are brought here.
She points to one bed which is considerably larger than the others.
Don't worry, whenever I treat an ogre, there are never fewer than 3 guards here.
Okay then. More light, please. Thank you. Right, more of that. Alright. We must find him soon. That's probably the way down. Looks like... Ah, this is another way out. And in here is lovely crystal and some healing herbs. Huh. It's like a little shrine, I guess, or something. I imagine the commander's probably in here. Most likely, anyway. Yeah, looks like it. At least there's plenty of people in here. The excavation doesn't have very many human workers. Two of them, exhausted, burly souls, are sitting here and resting. The work here has given them far more than their fair share of scrapes, bruises, and burns. When they realize that you are from the castle, they fill your ear with complaints about the ogres and the troubles they cause. Then they suggest that you give the commander a hard time. They're not soldiers, so they're free to complain. Alright then, we'll be sure to do just that. Alright, Commander, let's hear what you have to say. The commander of this outpost is a tall, thin archer. Her bow is made of fine yew, imported from the surface. It is never far from her hand. Seems like wise behavior out here in the wilderness. She looks up at you with the grim expression of one awaiting execution. Word of your arrival preceded you. You're from the castle, yes? I'm Commander Rana. Welcome. I will tell you what has been happening in the excavation. Though I will tell you the end of the story now. We have not been provided with enough resources for our work, so I have improvised as best I could. The ogres, for example. And without help from you, the work might not be able to resume. Tell me about the excavation. Well, it is a simple story, one you have probably already been told, but I am sure I can fill in some details. This is the Western Excavation. We are working here to find a rumored route to the surface. If we had a tunnel to the surface, many of Avernum's current problems would be solved immediately. As you can see, we are based in an abandoned Venati fortress. Its presence here was a stroke of good fortune for us. Maybe. I remember before that, this was a fortress held by the Empire. Well, first there was a route to the surface. Then the Empire took over here. They're the ones who probably collapsed it. And then the Venati took over the fortress and, likely not knowing anything about the route to the surface, just altered it to fit their needs. What makes you think that there was a tunnel to the surface here? Oh, this tale dates from the earliest days of Avernum. Supposedly the Empire knew about the route and concealed it, but a band of adventurers found it. Then it was at least partially sealed. That is the tale. All this happened, if it did happen, decades before we were born. Do you think the route exists? There are so many tunnels in Avernum, twisting and turning in every direction, that it is only logical that one of them would return to the surface. Is there such a tunnel here? I came because I was ordered to. Why was it fortunate to find the Venati fort? Because we were given a nearly impossible task and nowhere near enough people to complete it. To at least be spared the need to construct our own quarters was a blessing. Of course, when we got here, a tribe of ogres was already inhabiting the lower tunnels, so I was forced to improvise. Goody. There's more we need to discuss? Alright, but know that I did the best I could with what I was given. Can I get some supplies? Feel free to take anything you find. We would not want to anger the castle's envoys. If you require healing, visit Healer Isla. Tell me about the ogres. Well, when we arrived here and began to set up camp, there was a tribe of ogres in the lower tunnels. A little detail nobody had mentioned when I received my orders. I had barely enough troops to secure the site, let alone drive them out. Happily, I was able to parley with their chief, Chief Gunza. He is a surprisingly cunning creature for an ogre, and he had no desire to anger Avernum. How many ogres are there? About 20 total. A decent force. With our soldiers and mages, we could have driven them out, though we would have suffered losses we could not afford. Fortunately, another option presented itself. And you and Chief Gunza came to an agreement? We did. We needed labor. We were receiving a stream of supplies from the Great Cave. The ogres wanted food and, well, anything else we could give them. So you struck a deal with ogres? Yes, I know. They are treacherous, vicious, stupid creatures, all true. But I had a mission, and it was the only hope of completing it. And it worked at first. The wizards used their spells to loosen the rock. Ogres hauled it off. But then there were arguments. The ogres would get struck by spells, or they would go down the wrong tunnel and be crushed under rock. So now we need the ogres, but we can't use them. And that is why we need help. Report the status of the excavation. The status is poor, slow, difficult, but I think it would be best if you saw for yourself. I will order the way open to the main dig. Go look at it. It will tell you everything you need to know. How do I get there? Go down the stairs outside our barracks and head north. Stay out of the ogre caves. Things between us and them are touchy right now. What should I do when I'm there? Just wait. Something will go wrong quickly, I'm sure. Yeah, alright, if you say so. That's all for now, thanks. Okay, well, we'll go down there then. First, There's the passage. Alright, let me save first. Alright, let's go down and see what we can find out. You enter the low, dusty tunnels under the soldier encampment. Tracks and a crude pathway lead north. From that direction, you can dimly hear the echoes of blasting and shouting. The dig must be that way. There's a closed gate to the south. Listening carefully, you can hear more shouting, but it sounds like drunken kerosene. The faint odor of sweat and rotting garbage wafts from that direction. You can't see anyone through the gate, only crumbling old Venati halls. Whoever's down there, they want to be left alone. It's probably the Giants' halls. So, let's take a look at the excavation here. Oh, we found an emerald, but that's a dead end. Another dead end here, nothing in there. Alright, this must be the way. 2 main dig. Wear protective helmet and gloves. Watch out for mage fire. Oh, here's a main dig. You are near the end of a long, narrow, claustrophobic tunnel. The ceiling is painfully low and the air is choked with dust. The ground steeps up sharply and the climb is making you sweat. However, unless the tunnel eventually connects with an existing network that leads to the surface, this dig is a futile effort. If it was possible to escape from Avernum with mere picks and shovels, people would have done it years ago. The air is filled with constant flashes of light and bursts of ozone as mages blast the rock with spells. Then ogres haul it away. To see more of the process, you'll have to get closer. Well, there's the process. The ogres are moving up and down the gallery, filling up baskets with rubble and carrying them away from the blasting zone. They have to bend comically low to keep from smacking their heads against the ceiling. You try to speak with one of them, but he snarls at you. The conditions here have not put them in a good mood. Well, fantastic. The mages are deep in concentration, summoning up bolts of energy and directing them into the rock to the north. One of them mutters, "Oi, don't disturb us. We can talk soon." Summoning up so much power for so long is clearly taking its toll on the mages. Their powers of concentration are impressive, but they must inevitably suffer brief lapses. Like now. One of the mages wavers slightly and a bolt of fire goes awry. Unfortunately, the loose ball of flame flies at one of the ogres. The ogre, now heavily singed, roars in anger. He prepares to charge at the mages. A second ogre grabs his arm, trying to stop him. The first ogre punches the second ogre, and a crude brawl seems inevitable. Then a third ogre, much larger than the others, wades into the fray. He shouts,
No, stop! I am Hedera, and I command it! It's too much for too little. Enemy is not here. Enemy is chief. I say we get what is ours. I say we walk out.
He raises his club in the air and lets out a large howl. The other ogres, who you note all bear a wide array of scratches and burns, are encouraged by this, and by the chance to stop doing menial labor. They raise their clubs, roar, and turn back toward the exit. The mages, relieved that the ogres aren't going to attack them, take this opportunity to slip away. One of them whispers, "You should get away too while you can. The commander should probably know of this." Oh, goody. So, now the ogres are on strike. If they weren't before, now they are. Alright. Let's go report to the commander that things are going even worse now. I visited the excavation. Some ogre named Hedera commanded them all to leave. The commander nods. "Yes, that is how it goes. I knew this would happen. I've been waiting for this day. Everything in their tribe is broken down. Violence will result. The important thing now is to make sure that violence aids us. The castle didn't just send you to investigate, yes? You were sent to provide aid if needed." You admit that this is true. Well, now I know what needs to be done. Something might still be salvaged from this situation. What do I need to do? The ogres are led by Chief Gunza. He makes the ogres work. I give him supplies. But he hasn't been sharing the supplies. It is the ogre way. But the other ogres who are getting burned and bashed are annoyed. That Hedera fellow you saw, he seems to be wanting to challenge Gunza. He even came to me, as if I would get involved. Go below and talk to the ogres. See if you can find a way to end their little power struggle, preferably in a way that leaves me with a usable workforce. You want me to deal with the ogres? Why not? I've been doing it. Just talk to them. Find out what it would take to get some of them to return to their labors. Will I need to kill some of them? Most likely. I just hope you can keep from killing all of them. Talk to Chief Guzna first.
I'm sure he will have some rich suggestions for what to do to get the tribe back under his thumb. Of course, I don't care who you kill. They're just ogres after all, just as long as I'm left with a placid tribe I can work with.
Not sure I like treating the ogres in this way.
What an odd bit of sentimentality. Sympathy toward ogres, the meanest, nastiest creatures in Avernum. Well, besides giants, of course. Anyway, if this salves your conscience, you didn't make this situation. You only have to deal with it. We're all doing the best we can for the good of Avernum. Just go talk to them. They are downstairs and south. You might be able to find a solution that helps you sleep at night.
Alright, we'll go talk with the ogres. And since I don't know how long it's going to take, I'm just going to end this episode here. No, yeah, I'm going to end the episode here just to be safe. Next episode, we'll go down and speak with the ogres, see what we can do. Hopefully, find a way to resolve this relatively peacefully. Till then, I am Cheswick44, that is Ortas, Michael, Amar, and Rika. This has been an Avernum 6 Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.